Hey YouTubers, Glynda here. I just wanted to make a quick video and tell y'all. I did a podcast this morning. I've been up since 3 o'clock. It's 2:30 now. About fighting off this attack of bitterness that we've all been under. This is the most intense attack of bitterness I have seen in at least 5 years, and it got me. And I don't usually fall for that one, but it got me. And I did a podcast talking about all this and sharing what the Lord gave me as ways to release that bitterness, and also talking about the spirit of offense, talking about anger, and things like that, and talking about what to do when someone hurts you just so deeply that you just don't think you can forgive them. And also, I know I have at least one case. I have one case now, right now, of someone who just keeps trying to hurt me as bad as they can over and over, like every week doing something, trying to hurt me. And I know many of you have the same thing. And, it's just something that you deal with from time to time. But I talk about that in the podcast. This podcast is an hour long. But it started when a realtor friend of mine came by my house, and she and I were just sitting here talking about a week ago. And, of course, I always talk about God because He's my whole life. And we're talking about the neighborhood because she manages a lot of properties out where I live and different things, talking about families and pets and different things like that. And I start talking about someone, and all of a sudden, I realize that I am literally just spewing bitterness about this person. And I was like, and I realized today that the entire time that I am doing this, I am sitting right under a really large picture of Jesus. And I realized that today, and I'm like, oh, Lord, help me. Because, I share about Jesus every day and talk to people about Jesus every day, and I work for Him. And that was such a bad representation for me to do that. And what caught my attention was she kind of looked at me kind of funny, and I thought, why is she looking at me that way? And then I thought, and I realized what I was doing. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so bad. And so that after she left, I started repenting and praying. But I look at it now and I'm like, that is like God to get your attention that way. Because now I have this solid visual in my head of me just spewing bitterness in the picture of Jesus hanging right over my head. But anyway, I wanted to share with y'all about that podcast because I got up at 3 o'clock and I started revising my notes for the show because by the time I did the show, I had over 20 pages of notes to go through. So I knew it was going to be long. And the devil fought me so hard on this podcast. I lost my voice. The laptop didn't want to work. The printer didn't want to work. Everything tried to break down on me. And when I finally started recording, he attacked my voice. The rest of the time, I am fine until I sit down to record a podcast. But it was really bad today. If you listen to the podcast, you'll hear it. And I thought, somebody really, really needs to hear this podcast because I would not be getting attacked this hard if they didn't. So I wanted to share with y'all because I'm over on Podbean now, and there's an app you can download to your phone. And I like their app. It's called Just Praise Him Radio on the Podbean app. It's not called Wings. I like their app because it has a download link. And I like to download episodes so if I'm on the go and I'm away from my Wi-Fi, I can listen to it without interruption. But I'm old and I have an Android phone, and so I download stuff, and then I can't find it on my phone. So I like Podbean because it makes it where I can find it. But there's also a link on the Wings of Prophecy Facebook page to the Podbean show, the podcast, if you have trouble finding it. And on the Wings of Prophecy site, there is a Just Praise Him Radio tab now, and you can go there to hear the latest podcast, just the latest one. So if you ever can't find it, just go there. But I wanted to share with y'all and tell y'all about that because when I realized today, after I'd already done the podcast, when I realized that the whole time this was happening the other day, and I was talking to my friend, that I was sitting right under a huge picture of Jesus, it was just funny. And I thought they'll get a laugh out of that. And some of us right now really need a laugh. I have gotten emails from so many of you, and my heart goes out to you because this bitterness attack and it's just so intense. And bitterness is a stronghold. When it gets a hold of you, you don't just throw it off like a regular demon or something. You can't just say, well, I cast out the spirit of bitterness. It doesn't go like that. It's much more involved than that. And I talked about that on the podcast. It's much more involved. So if you've tried to do that and it failed, that's why. But anyway, take a listen if you're dealing with that at all, or if you ever have any problems with bitterness or people hurting you really bad and then carrying that hurt with you, or carrying the anger at them because they keep attacking you, like you have bad coworkers or you live with somebody that treats you bad or something. I think the podcast would be helpful to you. But I'll post a link in the description. I hope y'all have a really blessed, well, now I'm stumbling over my words again. This only happens when I'm recording. I hope you have a very blessed week. God bless you. Bye.